Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of Gunpla TV.
Yeah,
We're in episode number 317. Once
Whoa.
again, Dave joins.
Yeah, this
Welcome
is becoming a thing, but like,
I guess so.
Lindsay will be back soon. It's just because
someday.
I wasn't going to be on this episode, but we got in a new. I mean, I always do the girl kits, right?
Right.
We got in a new one, which is actually it really is new. It's a new line. This is the first one in the LBCS line.
LBCS. So this isn't like the frame armed girls.
No,
this
and
is
it's not
the
Megami
Megami
device. This is a new thing.
Okay.
And, we'll be having a look at that next time.
Right. This kind of looks interesting. She's really not as like revealing as some of these
No.
past kits have been. I'm
This is more
loving
like-
this like medieval looking armor.
Yeah, and she's got a cape on the back, so that'd be fun.
Ooh, plastic.
And I
cape?
think it's actually fabric.
Oh, it's actually
Yeah,
fabric.
actually
Okay.
fabric. So that's a new thing.
We'll have to look forward to that.
And obviously there's another big
Right.
elephant in the
The
room.
big elephant in the room. Yes, it's finally here. This is April. This is like past the halfway point of April. Finally, we get a new Gundam kit from Bandai this month. And the big one is, of course, the the XSEXS Gundam and S Gundam. So, this is kind of related to that Deep Striker that I built.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't
Same
remember
type
how
of
long.
stickers.
Last year, was it? I think it was beginning of last year. So, same type of thing. So, this has parts from the original S Gundam kit from like 2003, but with new armor parts and new parts to make it a lot cooler. So this is quite a big box and quite a
pretty big.
spiffy looking kit. So I think I will bring back the Deep Striker to kind of compare these two once they are built.
Cool.
And we also had one more new Gundam kit came in, and that
Little
is the Maganac.
Make Gundam great
Make
again.
Gundam great again. MAGA. Make Gundam great again. Nac. I don't know what Nac is, but yeah.
Yeah.
The
Maganac.
Maganac. It's an interesting name. How do you come up with the name Maganac?
Well, the thing is in Japanese it's Maguanaku, so it's totally different.
Okay.
But
So this is from Wing, so another new Wing kit, which is always awesome. So we had the Leo that came in recently, or like a year or two ago, and now we got the Maganac. It's quite a cool
Another
looking
HGAC
suit,
kit.
another kind of gruntish looking suit. But yeah, this
have
one
to
goes
do
with the
some
Sandrock. This is
detailing
one
on
of the ones that-
painting.
Ooh.
Weather that thing down.
That would look awesome. All right, so we have no Gundams to review this week, and I mentioned last week that I was currently building not just one, but two different things that will be on display at our Beaver booth at the Shizuoka Hobby Show. So I've brought those two kits, I've finished them, I brought the two kits that I was building for the Shizuoka Hobby Show in to do a little review on them. Now, one of these, let's talk about the big one first. So this is the BMW R90 S motor. So this kit is actually, I don't want to say it's not snapped together, but you actually need a screwdriver to put it
All
together.
right, because it's got moving parts,
It
right?
has moving parts too, so we'll take a closer look at that and show all that off as well as we can on the camera. It's kind of
More like
hard
an
to see on
IKEA
the
kit,
inside.
right?
Oh, kind of, yeah, you got to screw this one together, so that's kind of interesting. And then the other one I built, so the last couple of Shizuoka Hobby Shows, I've seemed to become the guy that builds these
Ships.
ship kits. So I have another ship kit that I built for this week, and this is the Hutten. This is an H-39 battleship, which is a battleship that was never actually built. So like the Montanas that I built previously, something that they had kind of started to design and were planning to build, but due to the war progressing and battleships no longer being kind of a thing in wars, the aircraft and aircraft carriers took over, this thing was just never built. But thankfully, VeryFire, the company that made this, based in China, VeryFire, they seem to like bringing us these kind of what-if giant battleships. So
cool.
They're starting with the H-39. I'm hopeful that someday they're going to move up to the H-44, which was like the last one that they actually had kind of planned on paper to build. So the H-44 would be much bigger too. So hopefully, I'm hoping that they will build the H-44. But today we'll take a look at the H-39. What do you say? Do we take a closer look at both of these kits?
Let's go.
All right, so here we're going to take a look at the ship that I built. So this is, oh gosh, I've built, this is the fourth ship that I've built for Shizuoka Hobby Show now. So the first VeryFire kit that I did was a 1/700 scale USS Montana, and then I did a 1/350 scale Iowa class, and then I did the 1/350 scale Montana, and now finally they bring us something that's not an American ship. This is a German ship, and this is, they call it on the box, this is a kind of a prototype. I don't want to, I'm careful.
Ooh, we've got to be careful.
I'm careful. I can't show the whole thing, I guess. I can't knock it. Ah!
I can do it. from here.
From there. There we go.
So I've got like 2 seconds. No, it's not going to do it.
You can get it in there.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, they say the H-Class Hutten. So
And
this
it's made by
VeryFire
Simple
in
box,
China.
but...
Simple box. Actually, this is kind of a prototype box. Usually the VeryFire boxes, on the back of the box is going to have your color layout, like what colors you should actually paint the kit.
This is just tape.
This is just like plain white. There's nothing on it because this is just a test shop. The kit's not officially released yet. This is before it's been released to the public. I got a preview of an early copy in order to build it for the Shizuoka Hobby Show. So let's get into the ship here, shall we? So yes, like I said, this is what the Germans had classed as the H-Class ship. And the first series, or the first in the H-Class ship that they were going to build was going to be the H-39. So this is going to be quite a bit larger than the Bismarck. Bismarck was a bit smaller because of the, the restrictions on Germany after the end of the First World War. They couldn't actually go out and build like really huge battleships, so they kind of built these smaller type battleships. But once they finally knocked out those restrictions and they're like, hey, we're going to start building whatever the heck we want. Screw those limey Brits, is what they said. They started to design some really huge stuff, but they never actually got around to building this thing. So this is just kind of not a... Like all those fancy tank designs that they built, that they designed but never built, we call those paper panzers. So we actually have a paper ship, a paper ship you would call it. But this is kind of a quite cool ship. I really love. This is one thing about the VeryFire kits is they really have nice detail on them. Let's see if we can focus on this. I did not paint this at all because being a test shot and there's no decals that are included with this ship, so. It's kind of just a lot of the model kits you see at the Shizuoka show are just kind of gray. They're just primered and whatnot. Everything on here is plastic. This ship actually should come with photo etch metal parts, but this early test shot did not include any of the photo etch.
I think it's amazing. You can see the little rivets on.
Right, on the turrets there. I don't actually recall off the top of my head what size these gun turrets should be. If they were going to be 16 to 18 inches, I kind of want to say that they were just going to be 16 inches, to be honest. Now, there should be some spotlights hiding under these hoods here, which is an interesting design. I built this kit with the hoods closed, because I was a bit lazy like that. But it does come including with the hoods, and actually there should be some photo etch parts underneath these boats to kind of like show them actually how they would be held down onto the ship. But since I didn't have the PE parts, I just kind of glued the boats directly to down to the ship. But
and there's a plane at the front, right?
At the back. This would be the stern of the ship. So at the back of the ship we have. Usually all the World War II battleships kind of had a little scout plane.
Yeah. How does that work though with this?
Right, that's kind of an interesting thing. So of course the Montana and the Iowas we built have it like more towards the back so you could flip it out. But apparently I don't know how accurate this design would be, to be honest, because
well, maybe
this
they'd have to move
plane kind of interferes with the gun, which is kind of an interesting. But that's how it showed it on the box art. So that's just how I built it. So
how does this guy come back on? Like once he's flown off?
All right, so
land on water and then
what you would do, although it's easier to see it on the Iowa and the Montana that I built. Those ships had like a giant crane that would hang on the back of the ship. So as you can see, this little plane has floats on it. So it would actually just land next to the ship, and then the ship would pick up the plane with the crane on the back of the ship, and then it would just plunk it back on, pick it up off the crane, and then just put it back onto the catapult there. So that's how they would pick those things up back in the day. Of course, nowadays you don't see planes on ships anymore because this was before helicopters were invented. So if they had helicopters during this era, well, they did, but they were not like as prevalent as they were after the war. They were still kind of experimental type things. But yeah, if this was a newer type of ship, then there would be like a helicopter landing deck on the back of the ship. That's actually what they did with the Iowas during the modernization, the post-60s, the 1980s Reagan era Navy rebuild. They equipped the Iowas with a helicopter landing deck on the back, so got rid of their old aircraft with the catapults. But really ships. One thing I love about ship models is just like the level of like small details that you look in. As you look at the ships, they're just quite impressive to look at, but they are quite tricky to build. So of course, not like a Gundam, this is going to require glue, and if you want to have it be really official, you're going to have to actually paint it. But thankfully, ships for the most part are gray.
Yeah.
So even not painted, this thing is still kind of similar in color to what they actually have on the box art,
Right.
which is gray. So
just probably weathered a bit.
Yeah, you could just weather it a bit. I didn't feel the need to primer this thing at all. So this is actually just straight the plastic that came out of the box. All I did was cut the parts off and clean them up and glue it together. But still, it took me, gosh, at least 8 hours to put this thing together.
Yeah, it looks finicky.
Yeah, it's quite a bit finicky. And yeah, I mean, the Yamato that I showed last week is really quite a breeze to put together compared to this thing. So they are a bit tricky. But if you're up for the challenge, then I say grab a 1/700 scale ship and give it a go.
Okay.
All right, so the next kit that we are going to take a look at is going to be this BMW R90 S-Boxermotor from a company called Franzis. So Franzis is actually one of the companies that our sister company Beaver imports. So this is another kit that I was asked to put together for the Shizuoka Hobby Show. So you're looking at this, you might be wondering, what the heck is this? This is an engine from a motorcycle. And if you looked at that front of this thing, whoops, I kicked the camera there a little bit. If you look, let me just kind of reach this around. So this engine is actually from, oh, you can see the camera there in Dave's nice little Pikachu cover. This is from a 1973 to 1976 BMW R90 S. And what the heck is an R90 S? Is it a car, you might be wondering? No, it is not a car. This is a motorbike. So this was a 1970s era motorbike. So
nice.
Quite interesting. You can see the engine there. They got a little bit of detail. This comes with the kit. So this is quite interesting. This is a nice, you can see how thick this is. This is an actual proper book. Quite heavy, nicely printed book that comes with the kit. And this book has a lot of nice pictures. It's a nicely quality printed paper, glossy printed paper. A lot of history of BMW motorcycles and
smells new.
and yeah, it smells new, and it kind of talks about like the newer stuff, like other cars that they used box. Actually, they did build this kind of weird looking small BMW. Oh, what was that show? There's a show, I think it was called Family Matters, and there's a character on. His name was Urkel, and I think Urkel actually drove one of these in that show. But yeah, this little tiny midget three-wheeled car, which has a door that opens in the front, which is quite the interesting feature. It's not something you could see in today's market, but this was also powered by one of these small boxer engines. Actually, this car too, the BMW 700 was actually powered by a 30 horsepower air-cooled flat cylinder engine too. So a lot of interesting stuff. Aircraft, of course. They did some aircraft engines, of course, if you know about World War II and whatnot. BMW had a large part to play in that as well, but quite the interesting book. And also this book doubles as your instruction manual. So the first half of the book is going to be like just the history and whatnot. And then this whole section in the back here
it's all in English.
It's in German. You got German on the left. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? And you got on the right, you got some English.
Don't mention the war.
So it's interesting. They list out all the different parts, so you can see like the part number here, and it's going to list like you've got your cams, you've got the large gears, the rocker arms, the cylinder head covers, all those parts. So if you're used to, and then there's like it lists all the different runners that come with this kit. So if you're used to building like a Gundam kit, you are going to kind of be more used to having. Like here, if you look at this, for example, it just shows 3. You're wondering, like, what the heck? Like, where would you find part 3? Because there's a lot of different runners on there. In Bandai kits, they're all labeled like runner A, runner B, runner C. They don't really follow that here. They just give you a number. And if you really are curious to figure out what runner it is on, you kind of have to go back to this part list here, find part number 3. Okay, so part number 3, that was the cam follower.
Quite odd.
That's going to be on mold B2. Okay, so you got to look that up. But I mean, this is quite odd, but actually you get used to it really quick, because even though they have a bunch of different runners on here, the like A runner,
same parts.
Well, like for a Bandai kit, A is going to have like a part 1, so you'd have like A1, but and you have like a B1 or you have like a D1, but actually the numbers are all the same. So like the different runners, you're not going to find like a part 3 on one of the different runners. So there's only going to be one part 3. So you can kind of just look around until you find part 3. So, but I think really once you start looking at the parts, they're really like kind of distinctive looking. So you just kind of start to memorize like what runners have what parts. So this is mostly a screw together kit too. So you see here it lists the screws. So you're going to be screwing it together. So that's quite interesting. And of course, being a screw together kit, this does thankfully come with your own screwdriver. All right, so let's take a look at this engine itself. So this is actually the designation that BMW gave this engine was the Type 247, and this is the 247 Airhead. So this is a 900cc horizontally opposed boxer engine. Now, usually when you think of boxer engines, BMW is not really the company that comes to mind when you think of boxer engines. Is that what you think of, Dave? Probably not. No. So when you think of boxer engines, of course, Porsche is going to be the first one that probably comes to a lot of people's minds. And then the second one will probably be Subaru. And if you're into aircraft engines, then Lycoming is going to probably be like a third kind of company. These companies still produce boxer engines. Subaru, of course, that's their main thing. Porsche, of course, boxer engine is still their main thing. BMW actually still does produce boxer engines as well, but they only use them in their motorcycle lineup. So there you have that. This is kind of BMW kind of really started off with the boxer style engines as well. So it's kind of nice that they kind of keep the tradition going. So as far as this engine goes, let me see if I can pull this up. This is quite cool because you're really putting together all the different parts. You've got the exhaust pipes, you've got the little carburetors. These are going to be the Del Orto carbs. This is actually going to be your transmission lever. We'll kind of look at that a bit later. You can see the air filter. They have a little plastic air filter on the inside as well. And on the inside of the engine as well, if you can kind of see in there, I think it's got a kind of good focus on that now. You can see the crankshaft. So you actually have like the little crankshaft in there. There's going to be your flywheel, and you have your little mini pistons in there and the connecting rods. And then this on the bottom, let me see if we can show it in there. Your camshaft is going to be here on the bottom underneath the crankshaft. So this is a this is a push rod overhead valve engine. So what that means is on the top of the cylinder heads here, you're going to have the valves. So you're going to have a little push rod that feeds in from that camshaft up into the head, and the camshaft is going to push onto these little push rod levers, and that's what's going to open up your valves. Each head has twin valves, so the twin valves are of course going to let in we got one valve to let in your intake, the air, and then you have another valve for the exhaust. So that's how this engine is going to work. Quite interesting. And the transmission. So this is a manual transmission, and you can see the gears on this side. So the other side here, you can see kind of the gears. And this is actually the transmission part was the most difficult to put together because you really need to line up everything correctly, or else your transmission is not going to work. Just like in a car, just like in a real car. So here you can see the lever. Maybe you can see how it works on here. We got the gear, so we're going to, maybe I need to go up a gear. So you can move that, and it's going to move that part.
That's cool.
And then let's come back over to the transmission side, and let's do the opposite. So you can kind of see how it works. So did you see that move there? Yeah. So then this you got the teeth here, and it's grabbing it from this wheel, but then when you change gear, it's going to move over to grab onto this gear, and that's how you're going to change gears from like first to second. And so then you got your third down there, and you keep going. So quite interesting, I have to say. All right, so let's see what else. So this is a electrically powered item, and you can see the plugs on the back here. So you can actually turn this on. I've got some batteries going on in this thing. So what do you say, Dave? Shall we fire it up?
Rev it up.
Shall I give it a little bit of gas?
Go for it.
If only it actually had gas. It's just electronically powered. So let's go ahead and start it up here. You ready? Ready? So there we go. So it fires up. We got it moving here, so you can see the crankshaft moving. And then here you can see the pistons. Oh, yeah. The pistons are going in and out. And you'll notice you have a red light that goes off. Now that red light is going to be your spark plug firing, because you got the little spark plug here. So when the spark plug is firing, that's when you got your combustion cycle. So you'll notice every time the piston moves, it's not combusting. So you got one cycle, it's combusting, and then the other cycle is when it's pushing out the exhaust gas. So that's how the engine works there. And it runs.
So obviously this is a lot slower than in real life, but
right. Well, I mean, this is like a single RPM. It doesn't have a variable RPM, so it just runs at one continuous speed, and it does shut off by itself. So That's quite interesting. So I gotta say, this is quite a cool thing. What am I missing? Of course, this is kind of a cool feature too. If you've ever played around with an engine at all, of course, every engine requires oil, which you'd sit in the oil pan here at the bottom. And of course, how would you check your oil to know if you have enough oil?
With a dipper stick.
With a dipstick, right? So you got a little dipstick on the side here.
Cool.
But of course, there's no oil in here. Maybe you could take some like weathering markers, maybe weather your dipstick a little bit. That's kind of interesting. Quite a cool kit, I have to say. Isn't it? It is a bit pricey, though, because, I mean, just the level of detail that comes with this thing. It's got quite a nice box, and it comes with that really thick manual. So it's a bit pricey, but it's really a nice kit. If you're into the motorcycles at all, or
for sure.
any kind of mechanical type stuff, then definitely, this would be something that you'd want to check out. Now, Franzis, the company, actually also makes Porsche Boxermotor as well. So now they've done the BMW, they've done the earlier styled Porsche before. So quite interesting stuff, I have to say. Oh, and actually, I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's the little timing belt. See, this kit actually has
a real belt.
a real actual timing belt in there. And just like a real timing belt, you have to make sure that the timing belt is aligned perfectly, so that it actually comes with a timing belt alignment tool. So with this tool, you can plug it into the sprockets, the gears, and just align the gears correctly, so that way when you plug in the timing belt, everything is properly aligned, just like in a real engine. So I gotta say, what do you say, Dave? It's a pretty cool kit, isn't it?
Yep. Let's wrap it up there. Wow, that engine is loud.
Isn't it? It's quite the thing. So
hopefully
if you guys happen to be at the Shizuoka Hobby Show, you are welcome to stop by the Beaver booth. You can say hi to Brian and
probably
Lance.
us.
Lance was on.
Are you coming this time?
I'll be coming. I go every year. That's why I got to do this show.
Yeah, me too. So you'll be able to probably see us somewhere.
Yep, stay tuned. Actually, speaking of that, this actually will probably be the last video that they see before the Shizuoka Hobby Show.
Yeah, because we have a massive holiday next week. Right. Starting next week. It's 10 days long.
10 days long. So this year we get this really massive Golden Week holiday. So also what's happening in Japan during this period is like the current emperor is stepping down, and then his son is going to take over, and the new Reiwa era is going to begin. So goodbye Heisei and hello Reiwa.
Yeah, and so we get more holiday off.
Right, 10 days.
Woo. I will have even more holiday off because I'm going back to the UK.
Ooh, okay.
So my first day of work will actually be Shizuoka.
Hampstead.
No, mate, I'm going back to London.
Okay, well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but that's a different part.
Sure.
I'm always centre.
You don't have to feel guilty about your wealth, your mansions.
No, I don't have any. Anyway, so yeah, the next one will probably be the Shizuoka episode.
Will be the Shizuoka Hobby Show. So it's going to be a little while before we actually have this thing on, but because I have some extra time, hopefully I can actually get this finished in time for the next episode.
Right, let's move on to some comments. And the first one is from 000 Gravity. And he says, only 2 Band-Aids this time. All right, Dave. Yeah.
All right, you built nothing this week, so you have no Band-Aids.
I've healed.
But maybe we'll have to do Band-Aid count.
I've got to have nippers when I do this.
We gave you nippers. Where did they go?
Someone 100% stole them. So anyway.
Someone nipped his nippers?
Yeah.
Nicked
them,
nippers?
yeah. Okay, and the next comment is from Vmon24, and he has a massive list. He says, Dynams, Goof Custom, Strike IWSP, Wing, Quantity Full Saber, F91 2.0, Psycho Zaku, ZZ, and Infinite Justice, all master grade. Which should I build next?
Okay, what do you say, Dave? You're like, what?
Full Saber.
The Full Saber, okay.
Or the Dynams from last week was quite cool.
The Dynams. So we recently reviewed the Dynams. That was kind of a really nice kit to put together. Dave actually really liked the flexibility of the
I thought it was
posability
good.
of
I always like
kit,
them when they stay in one place when I'm filming them. So
that's always a bonus. But if the Dynams would be a good choice. Now, the what was it? The Psycho Zaku, that would be a good choice too, just to knock that one out. I think the Psycho Zaku, if I'm remembering, that was the Thunderbolt kit, I believe, with the huge backpack. Just to finish that one, get it out of the way is always a good thing. All right, so cool. Dynams, go for the Dynams, we say.
Okay, now next.
It's
2,000 yen HobbyLink store credit.
That it is. It's time for the giveaway, and this week, Random Number Generator has chosen another high number. Number 53.
Oh, I've seen this name before.
All right, so it's a common commenter on the series, G Razor, and they say, "Great show, guys! Thanks. Can't wait to see the 1/144th HGCE Destiny Gundam review." Okay,
cool.
I think that was a kit that was coming out later. I do not remember exactly when that was coming out. Not April for sure. I think maybe sometime it was May or June. It's coming up. But yes, we'll try to get that kit on the show indeed. All right.
Cool.
It's time also to let you guys know how you can also win 2,000 yen HobbyLink Japan Store credit.
Yes.
All you need to do is go to HobbyLink.tv, find episode number 317, and post a comment. Please remember to be registered on HobbyLink.tv in order to actually win a prize.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
like and subscribe and hit the bell. That'll be good. Cool.
That's it.
I guess that's about it.
All right, so everybody out there I guess, rest of the world, you're not going to have a nice
long holiday.
You'll
have a holiday from us.
You'll have a holiday from watching the Gunpla TV. But stay tuned for the Shizuoka
we'll have this
show report, and we'll probably see this finished in Shizuoka. So, a lot of stuff coming up. So, look forward to it.
See you guys soon. Goodbye.